being separated from our papi and our mommy. We think of our grandparents in Mexico who haven't seen our parents for over 25 years. We do not want this for us. We don't want our parents to have to miss our birthdays, our weddings, college graduations, and the birth of our children. Our youngest sibling has a rare syndrome called 22q and must go to the top hospital of our region every single month for treatment. Who will take care of this child if our parents are deported? 2 of us attend college and work part-time jobs. If separated, we will have to drop out of college to help pay off the mortgage, medical bills, and student loans. The Declaration of Independence promised us to the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What kind of life is it to fear every single day that your parents may be taken away from you? There's no happiness in that. What liberty do we have if we have to drop out of school and must work 3 dead-end jobs? Mr. Governor, Mr. Attorney General, we're registered voters, and we voted for you. Lead the fight with us and voice to be sure that U.S. citizens and residents of Virginia do not have to fear being separated from their children and from their families. We love this country. Thank you.
Hello, voice. Assalamu alaikum. It was really emotional speech, and I don't know if I can speak like what she did. My name is Maysa. I have lived in Virginia for 6 years. Before moving here, I lived my entire life in Syria with my husband and 2 daughters. We left Syria in 2012. Have you seen the pictures on TV? Have you seen how dangerous the situation became in my country? The regime was not upholding democratic values. My priority was to keep my family safe. So asylum meant to protect people feeling danger. We applied for asylum in 2013, and we were told we should expect an interview in 2 months. But instead we had to wait 4 years. 4 years. We sent emails over and over asking about our status. But the only answer we'll get is pending, pending. Let me tell you what it is like to live in limbo. My husband and I are emotionally drained. We pay $2,000 in fee every 18 months to renew our work permit. We are up to $6,000 already, lawyers' fees on top of that. My daughter wants to attend university, and unless our asylum status is approved, universities charge us 3 times more tuition. The Muslim travel ban is another weight on our shoulders. It prevents me from seeing my parents and my children from meeting their grandparents. Voice, this is wrong.
Yes.
It has been a long and difficult adjustment. This journey has pushed me to become the best version of myself. I've been able to start my own weekend school and after-school program where I served over 500 children in Virginia. Voice, let's bring our best. Let's bring our stories, our ideas, and our power together. Tonight, I challenge you to join me in a campaign to listen to 2,000 of our immigration brothers and sisters. to figure out the concrete solution to address the discrimination we face. Governor, Attorney General, we look forward to bring our stories and ideas and power to you and acting together to make Virginia better. Thank you.
Good afternoon, boys. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. I am Saif Rahman from the Al-Hijrah Islamic Center Justice Team. So we have a verse in the Quran that starts with, "O you who believe, why do you say that which you do not do? God's wrath or anger is increased when you say that which you do not practice." Boys, we don't ask anyone to commit before we commit ourselves. And we committed to turn out tonight. Mr. Governor, Mr. Attorney General, last year it was the Redskins. This year it's Redskins and Cowboys. Boys, look around. Look at all of you here. Give yourselves a round of applause. We committed 1,200. We're above that tonight. As you can see, we've got 55 congregations here from across Northern Virginia, and these voice leaders coming on stage are showing us the numbers of people that were committed and that showed up tonight. If there are others that are wanting to join, please come on stage now. Leaders, please hold them high. Give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. Governor, Mr. Attorney General, when we say we turn out, we turn out. When we say we will lead with you, we will lead with you with people and numbers.
And if you are a new institution that will be joining Voice in 2019, raise your hands high, stand up where you are. All right, I see that. Look, the number that are going up. Come on, let's give an applause for the several new institutions joining Voice in 2019. Our numbers are growing, which means our power is growing.
Now these are the numbers of people here tonight. I want you to turn your cards over to show the numbers for Get Out the Vote. We will have 450 people getting out the vote this November. And we will have people down in Richmond during the General Assembly next term to make sure that these issues that we're pushing for are going to be called for and worked upon. Good job, boys. So please hand in your green cards when you exit the stage so we can count and we can show our officials here tonight how many people we have to show up. Turn your cards. Thank you very much, boys. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Good evening, boys. Oh, I'm a retired Army guy. Come on now. Don't make me do my drill sergeant act. Good evening, boys. Hey. Whoop. For the Marines, that's hoorah. I'm Reverend Ellis, pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church in Woodbridge, Virginia, and one of your boys' clergy leaders. And we vote. Tonight, boys, as you have already heard, we are so blessed and fortunate to have with us two incredibly strong allies. Governor Ralph Northam, Redskins, know that boxers always get their instructions in advance. So the governor and the attorney general already have been given the questions in advance. We've gone over the rules. And I want to say tonight, though, for those who don't know, Boyce has a long and strong history with Attorney General Herrick. We have for a long time been working with holding big banks accountable and winning to smart gun work that we have today. So the Attorney General is going to join me. I apologize, I'm going to share a mic. It's okay?
I'll share a mic with you anytime.
Mr. Attorney General, as you know, we have two sets of questions tonight. The first is going to be on reforming cash bail, and secondly, on keeping families together. However, the governor, in earlier conversation, has to go tonight, and we want to make sure that he gets to the airport on time. So, we're going to ask you the question on reforming cash bail, then we will stop, and then ask the governor to come forward, and then we'll bring you back. For those who don't know, the Attorney General will have 2 minutes to answer his questions, and then at the conclusion of that, of course, 3 minutes, and then at the end, in 2 minutes after, before you make any remarks that you care to make after that. And so, in church, we always say, if you go over your time, we're going to tell you on your coat tip. So I'm going to find a gentle way to remind you, so if you feel a little tug, I'm not trying to be friendly. So, Mr. Attorney General, the question is simply, will you work with Boyce to reform cash bail in the state of Virginia?
Reverend, and to all of Boyce, absolutely. I will work. In fact, that work has already begun. And it is definitely time to have a conversation in Virginia about whether there is a better, more effective way of keeping our communities safe, while also making sure that we keep low-risk, non-violent offenders from entering a downward cycle of debt, unemployment, and reoffense that so often happens after even a brief stay in jail. Virginia's current system of cash bail too often just determines who has money rather than who is dangerous. And we cannot have a criminal justice system that determines fairness or freedom based on wealth and means. That is wrong. Nor can we have a system where bail, particularly high bail, is the norm rather than the exception for individuals who do not pose a threat of violence or flight. I want to keep communities safe. I want people to show up for court, and it is clear there are better, more effective ways of doing this. For example, I know of one study that said an automated text message was as effective as cash bail in getting people to show up for court. That's a whole lot cheaper and a whole lot better. So it does not make sense, nor does it make our communities any safer, to make low-risk, non-violent persons stay in jail, while a much more violent person is allowed back into the community just because that person has the money to do it. So the realities of bail as it's in practice in Virginia also raises some constitutional concerns. And so last Friday, I sent a letter to the Virginia Crime Commission, together with a legal memorandum, outlining my policy concerns and outlining the concerns that I have with the constitutionality as it's in practice in Virginia. And so, yes, we will continue to work together. I think we've got a great opportunity to make Virginia's system so much better and more effective, and that it will work for people, and I look forward to working with all of you and Boyce to make it happen.
This is an important part of criminal justice reform. People sit in jail and lose their homes, they lose their families, all because they can't afford cash bail, whereas a person who has the means will post a bond and continue to pose a threat to the community. So thank you, Mr. Attorney General, for what you're doing. We really appreciate you. This is a national moment that's taking place in the state of Virginia. Now, Mr. Governor.
Yes, sir.
I'm still going to practice your before you.
Like, come on.
You know, boss, our work with the governor actually started when he was the lieutenant governor, and that's when I met you down in Richmond as lieutenant governor. And so tonight we are looking forward to hearing from you, sir, on how you're going to help us to lead on the local manifestations of some of our nation's most challenging issues, that of criminal justice, schools, and housing affordability. You see, in fact, the governor and Voice, we see eye to eye on many of these issues. And this is a national moment for us, where we can actually lead our nation into doing the right things. We are practical people, and therefore we look for practical solutions. We are people of faith. In fact, the first time I met then Lieutenant Governor Northam, one of the first things we shared is he is a member of an African American church.
No, sir. No, I can't dance here.
Okay, half the Baptist. We have hope tonight, Mr. Governor, that you are going to not only ally and partner with Voice, but that you're going to challenge us, because we know these issues require heavy lifting, and that's what we do best. We help to move the solution forward. So as you have, of course, as we talked earlier, we're going to talk first about criminal justice reform. You'll have 5 minutes to respond, and then we will ask you 2 remaining questions that have to do with other subjects.
That's fine.
Okay. The first question, sir, is on cash bail. As you have just heard, the Attorney General announced a huge first step in reforming cash bail. But for this to succeed, we know it takes heavy lifting, and it's going to take leadership in Richmond with the General Assembly. So what are the concrete steps that you will take to do so? Secondly, will you launch a multi-year campaign to decrease mass incarceration? We hope by 40% over the next 5 to 10 years, and announce with Voice a bold blueprint to do so. This, of course, is going to require you to convene a small group of key leaders, both Republicans and Democrats, before the end of the year so that we can lay out this strategy. And lastly, we all know that the practice of suspending returning citizens' driver's licenses has to stop. And there is a $7 to $8 million fiscal note attached to this year's bill, and it needs to be resolved in the 2019 budget so that the funding is not a reason for killing this bill again. So I'm going to leave this here so you can refer to the questions.
Thank you.
You may have seen.
Thank you, Reverend. Good evening. It is great to be back with Voice. I suspect some of you were here last year when I was here, and there is power in every one of you in this audience, and there is power in every vote. So thank you all so much for what you've done, and because of your energy, because of what you did last year, now 400,000 working Virginians have access to health care. That's because of you. The felony larceny threshold was raised from $200 to $500. That was because of you.